Is your summer outfit missing a pair of stylish shorts? Let's make these ones together. Hi, I'm Nasrin, the designer behind Needle Eye Patterns, and in this channel I'll share all the experience I have over the years about sewing, pattern making, and fashion design. Grab your pattern at needleeyepattern.com, the link is in the description, and if you need some help printing and assembling the pattern, watch this video. I'm using a medium weight cotton twill fabric. You can also use linen or denim or basically any medium weight non-stretchy fabric that you like. 1 meter of 1 inch wide elastic, 2 D-rings that are 1 inch wide, pins, scissors, and some fabric weights. Fold your fabric in half, selvage edge on selvage edge, place your pattern pieces on the fabric, make sure the grain line is parallel to the selvage edge. Do not forget to cut the notches. You have 4 notches on the pocket and 2 notches for each front and back. There are 2 pieces for the waistband that you need 1 layer of each one. I'm using a lightweight fusible interfacing for the pocket opening and the waistband. Go ahead and serge around the pieces, except for these pocket facings that you only need to serge the longer edges, and also for the pocket piece you only need to serge this line. Let's start with fusing the pocket opening. Bad side of the fusing touching bad side of the pocket. Turn off the steam on your iron and press. Remember, when you're fusing a fabric, never rub the iron on the fabric. Just press. Basically, you're not ironing, you're pressing the fabric. Place bad side of the pocket facing on bad side of the pocket. Line up the corners and pin the diagonal line. Same thing for the other pocket. Now sew close to the edge. Now fold the pocket opening right at the notches and pin. We need to sew close to the edge. Remember, the stitch on the good side of the fabric is always nicer compared to the stitch that comes from the bobbin. So when it comes to the top stitching, make sure the good side of the fabric is always facing up. So place the fabric bad side up first and see if you want to sew close to this edge where the fold is lining up with. Now flip to the good side, line up the fold with that line and sew. If you like, you can have a second stitch line close to the first one. Now have them good side up, fold it in half, right at the notches, and pin. Are you passionate about sewing? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and every week enjoy making a new design and learn more tips and tricks. Now you only sew the bottom edge. Clip the corners, make sure you're not cutting the stitch line, flip the pocket to the good side. When you're ironing, first open the seam and press. Then iron the good side and try to poke the seam out and get it flat. Use a pin to pull the corners out. Just be very careful with the fabric. Just gently pull the fabric out without ripping it. Now you can go ahead and serge the raw edges of the pocket. Between your waistband pieces, grab the bigger one. Make sure you have the notches on it and fold it in half. You're sewing from the longer side towards the notch and stop right at the notch and backstitch. With the tip of your scissors, snip very close to the stitching, but be careful not to pass the stitch line. Open the seam flat and give it a press. Use a safety pin and pin it to the one layer of the waistband. And feed it through and flip it to the good side. Now get the seam right at the edge and press. Make sure the unsewed part of the waistband is poking out. Place the pockets good side up on the table and work on the left one. Place the waistband on top. Line up one layer of the waistband on the top edge of the pocket. Pin and make sure it's lined up also perfectly on the sides. Now sew a straight line and make sure not to catch the other layer of the waistband. Now flip the waistband up. The seam allowance also should be towards up and press with the iron. Now flip. Tuck the seam inside the waistband. Fold the seam allowances 1.5 centimeters and make sure it's slightly covering the stitch line. Give it a press. And now pin the fold down. On the good side, We want to stitch close to the edge and close to the top edge. If you like, you can have a second row of stitching right next to the first one. Now grab the other waistband and your D-rings. Feed the waistband through the rings and fold it in half, good side touching good side. Line up the edges and pin only one side. Start stitching from the edge and stop 2 centimeters before the rings. Again, press the seams open first, then flip it to the good side and press the seam. Try to adjust the rings and fix the fold. Now grab the other pocket. Line up one layer of the waistband with the top edge. Pin and sew a straight line. you want to create a nice, precise fold around the D-rings. Take your time and try to get it perfect. Now pin it down. And on the good side, we're sewing close to the edge, going towards the rings, and then turn and going around. Front pieces. They have smaller curves compared to back pieces. Line them up good side touching good side and pin the crotch. So from the top to the crotch point. Grab the fusing for the waist. Place it close to the top edge on the bad side of the front and press with the iron. Flip the front to the good side. Now start marking 3 centimeters above the bottom, and this will be the hem allowance. Flip it to the bad side, fold the hem right where we marked, and press. Good side of the fabric up. Place the pockets on top. Line up the sides. And find that notch at the side of the front, because you need to place the top edge of the pocket right where the notch is. And at the bottom, the pocket should be lined up with the fold. Now we're sewing the sides at 0.5 centimeter seam allowance, which is less than our regular seam allowance. Now the back. Line up good side touching good side. Pin and sew the crotch. Place the back good side up on the table. Now place the front on top, good side touching good side. Line up the sides from the top going down. And this excess of the fabric is the back hem allowance that we're gonna fold afterwards. Start pinning from the top going down. Now fold the back over the front and make sure their edges are lined up together. And pin. Go ahead and sew from the top all the way to the bottom. Now open the crotch seams, line them up together. Make sure the seams are right on top of each other and pin. Open this fold that we created for the hem and pin. Now go ahead and sew from one hem to the other. For pressing the seams open, you can also use these tailor's hem, put it underneath the seam and open the seams flat. Now flip the shorts to the good side. Tuck in the corners for the hem. And this is how they should look like. The hem allowance for the front is already folded. We can just give it a quick press. And for the back, make sure you fold the hems the same amount, which was 3 centimeters. Now it's ready to sew. Start sewing right at the side seam, but make sure not to catch the pocket piece. You go all around to the back and stop right at the side seam. On my brother's sewing machine, I can pull the arm out and place the pants around the arm. Write down in the comments for me what machine do you use and if it has this option. I'd just like to know. Now we need to press the side seams. Push the seam allowances towards back and press it like that. You can also slightly pull the fabrics from both sides to get the seam even more flat. There are some notches on the waistline that indicates the folding line for the waist. Fold the waist. And if you want to make sure if it's accurate, it should be 4 centimeters. Then fold the sides and make sure the pocket is sitting on the front. The fold should be exactly right at the waistband. Now the center front. And all around the waist. On the front, measure 12 centimeters from the side seam towards the center front and mark. We need to start sewing from the side seam without catching the pocket towards the mark, stop there and backstitch. And this stitch line is 3 centimeters below the waist. Also at the back, we stitch from one side seam to the other without catching the pocket. Cut the elastic half the size of your waist. Like if your waist measurement is 60 centimeters, the elastic should be 30 centimeters long. Pin a safety pin to the end of the elastic. And we have to feed it through the opening of the front. Pin the other end to the waist. Push the elastic in and pull the fabric from the back. If it gets stuck at the seam, you only need to open the tunnel a little bit and feed it through between the seams. Pull it out and release the safety pin. The end of the elastic should sit 2.5 centimeters away from the end of the stitching. Pin it down. Check the elastic and make sure it's not twisted in the waist. Same thing for the other end. And this is a good time to try on the shorts to make sure if the elastic is tight enough. If you want it to be tighter, you can just pull it from one end and pin it back. Now we have to stitch down the end of the elastic. Start stitching from the top all the way down to the waist stitch line. Now place a pin right in the center front because we need to go ahead and finish the stitching for the front. Start exactly where you left off all the way to the other side. Now pull the waist from both sides a couple times because we want to spread the elastic evenly all around the waist and sew right at the center back seam. This stitch stops the elastic from twisting. Drop the needle right on the seam, backstitch and sew. Now let's finish the end of the strap. Double fold the end of the strap and pin. And go ahead and sew close to the edge. And we are done. Isn't she so cute? I really hope you enjoy making these shorts. It was a little bit challenging, but it all worth it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.